Welcome to the Hospitality Hotline. This episode is called Built to Serve, Winning in Hospitality. And we've got Diana from Potora. Potora is a meal prep company that's grown into a six-figure business. So we'd love to hear how you've done that and hear how the Potora story started.
My story started just under 3 years ago when I was in my corporate job and trying to figure out what is next for me. I was raising a small family at the same time and trying to be perfect in my own way, to try to manage everything to the best of my ability. And I felt I needed to find a way that I could create a bit more balance and a bit more freedom for me to have some more time with my family. And that's kind of when Potora started.
So what were you doing when you come up with the idea? What was it that made you think you needed a change?
I don't even think I felt like I needed a change. I mean, every job that I had, I really loved my job. I just felt like I was struggling to balance my life to the standard that I wanted. And in some shape or form, I think I kind of felt like I was failing at everything because it was just a lot to be great at, if you wish. So I think the most important thing for me then was getting some time back.
Really thought that setting your own business would do
Yes.
that.
Well, what was I thinking, Laura? Yeah, what was I thinking?
Yeah. I think initially though, but you're at the stage now where you are operating without being in the business, so you've got to that level that you needed. But yeah, maybe tell us about the start.
Yes. Well, I was thinking, do you know, I'm going from this operations role that I felt like was taking my whole life, even though it was a 9 to 5 job, into a part-time, relaxed, work from home kind of scenario where I manage my time and have the freedom that I want. And yes, I did get some of that, but it was a 24/7 kind of scenario at the beginning. It was you kind of wake up overnight from being part of something that had loads of people, loads of teams that were working for you, being into this one-man band, and you think like, okay, what now?
You woke up overnight, needed to be a marketer,
Yeah,
HR,
yeah,
admin,
yeah, yeah,
accounts.
and still needing to be the mom, the wife, the everything else. And I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm not sure if that was a smart move.
So how have you navigated that then, and what have you sort of done to make Potora a success?
um, I think the first thing I did was try and understand what mattered to me. Um, I just say we go into a 24/7 kind of scenario when you start running your business. However, because at the beginning the business is not super busy, as you try and grow your customer base, you do have some time that kind of gives you some energy to put back into yourself and really understand what matters to you. Why have you decided to do this? Where you want to go? What do you want to build with this, and what you want to achieve? So I think that was the most important thing that I did in my first year of business.
So this series looks at winning in hospitality, built to serve. How do you feel you've served your customers to get yourself in a position where you've been able to scale?
I think there was loads of things that I was privileged to learn as part of my corporate jobs during my almost 20 years in Costa, about 12 in Costa, and then I did Spar and some other retailers. And I think the main thing that they did really well was putting customers at the heart of what they do every day. And I took that as a kind of a religious task for me to do every day in my business. And I have always treated my business like it's a brand.
Yeah. I think that really stood out to me when you said you've always treated it like a business.
Yes.
So what's your take then on the term side hustle? How many times have people said to you, how's your side hustle going?
I know. Well, my opinion on side, it might be a bit controversial. I think side hustles are not meant to stay with you as a as part of your lifestyle. I mean, my business, if you want to create a business that really supports your lifestyle, you don't call it a side hustle from start.
Yeah.
So I've never called my business a side hustle. It was always a business that I was trying to, especially while I was transitioning from my full-time job to my business, it was always, I have a business outside of my job.
Yeah. I think it is quite controversial as well, because I remember when I started my business 5 years ago and I was employed full time, and a lot of people were saying to me, "How's your side hustle going?" And I'm thinking, I've never referred to my business as a side hustle, so why are you? And actually, the word side hustle to me is like you say, like you're just planning to keep it on the side. And actually, I was quite serious about my business. So from day one, like you, I've always said it's not a side hustle, it's a business.
Yeah.
And I do think that is key to success.
Yeah. And also, I think too many business owners do call their business a small business from start as well. It's kind of similar. I mean, side hustle kind of refers a bit of like a part-time thing on top of your day job, but then small business refers that you never have plans to actually make. Well, if that's your business that grows and gives you the lifestyle that you want, how can it be small? That's a brand that you create to give you the lifestyle that you want.
100%. And you started your business then, and you've scaled it. And since you started, obviously you used to do paper and pen, phone orders, using emails in the digital world. How have we sort of scaled? Have we grown with time?
Yeah, I mean, probably that was the most important thing that I did as part of growing and developing my business. Moving from, I remember the first order, I was taking them on like a diary type, Diana 2 meals, Laura 3 meals type of thing, and then it was a lot of ordering through messaging, and everybody was sending me notes through every
Chaos.
kind of channel that they could, exactly, to get in touch. It was chaos. And the first thing I did was, when I thought, I need more time to reinvest back into my business, was, let's put this on it was a spreadsheet initially. It was kind of, just put everybody on a spreadsheet. Then it was the website. He was initially, I was posting menus on Facebook, but that didn't last long. So even as soon as I moved from my corporate job into full time with my business, that was one of the first thing I did: go onto a website and get the ordering kind of automated.
And would you say that's been key to helping you scale?
I mean, it was a godsend, and it wasn't just for me; it was for customer as well. It helped me because the orders could come in at any time, and there was no this back and forth. People were answering the questions and the form was coming in, which initially was just a basic form on the website. The customers could do that at their own time, and the sales have increased naturally just by that, because I got to a point where I couldn't
physically write.
Yes, and reply as fast as the questions were coming in.
Yeah. And then you started at home, and you've moved a while ago now into your first unit, taken on some staff. So, any tips there for anyone?
I would say, be brave. Don't hold back. I must say, when I look back now, and I know hindsight is a beautiful thing, there were probably was even a sooner time when I could have done this. But I assume you've just got to be ready yourself. So I would say, just be brave. If you see like the wave is coming, ride with it, and just go for it.
And then you've said you've come from Costa hospitality. I always say it is firefighting. It doesn't mean it's chaos. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. But it's one of the sectors where firefighting is a skill. You've got maintenance issues, you've got staff letting you down, you've got suppliers not turning up. So do you feel that you've been able to bring some of that skill set into your own business now?
All of it. All of it I brought into my own business. And no matter how much planning you do and how much you organize yourself, that is always going to happen exactly what you said. Something's not going to go to plan, and you've just got to, it's part of, it kind of comes with the job. So as long as you're okay with that, and I think dealing with situations should be part of the skill of growing a business. So as long as you're fine with that, you'll totally be fine.
Yeah, and I think part of mentorship that I do is businesses get in touch when something's gone wrong and they've only been in business for 3 months, and then a chef hands their notice in, or
Yeah.
they're having issues with the supplier, and they feel their world's over.
Yeah.
And it's a tough conversation to be like, right, this is just the start.
Yeah. And another thing is usually situations like this, and I found it many times, that you kind of grow your business and you learn things that work and things that don't work. Sometimes, somebody leaving, it might be a good opportunity to look at, other bits in your bit. Exactly. Sometimes it's a new process. If you see people constantly doing something, opportunities like this, or, when things don't happen to plan, are really great moments to look at the business again and see if you can do it even better.
No, 100% agree. And then, so you left your job with the aim of more family time, and now you're working with your husband. So one extreme to the other, how's that going?
We love it. We do love it. However, we did have, one of the main challenges was to kind of break it down to what is family time, because then what is family time, what is business time, because at some point, especially when we were maxing it out in our home before we moved into a kitchen with staff, it was kind of overtaken. We didn't know if it was family life, if it was, we didn't know if we were fighting because the business, because of kids, because of who washes the dishes. So it's once we, I mean, it's such a fantastic opportunity to be able to create a business that feeds your family, and it's both of us in the business. So
I was going to say, it must be a nice feeling to be able to employ your husband.
It's a fantastic feeling, and as you grow, is going to be easier and better, tougher with other challenges, but from a family perspective, it's going to give more and more back. But initially, I think is just finding that balance was probably the challenge.
And I'm sure it will continue to be a challenge as you continue to grow. So what's next for Potora then? We've moved into one site. Are we going to have multiple?
I think one of the learnings is I'll never say never. So far, I've been, whenever I said never, it happened. So I'm not going to say never. However, I think what we're trying to do is really reach as many communities as we can, and also be part of helping people understand the importance of utilizing homemade meals and really making it accessible to many. So if it's part of a different unit in the community, like a food hub, or if it is looking like scaling and working with affiliates, is not clear defined path yet, but our mission is to get to as many community as we can and bring homemade meals in that community.
Sorry, so something that you don't do with your meal prep company, which a lot of meal prep companies do now, is you don't really play on a lot other than healthy homemade food, do you? There isn't that weight loss promotion, there's no high protein for the gym goers. Would you say that that's been part of your success, is actually appealing to a wider market?
I think it has been part of my success. However, I think it was something it wasn't about the success when I've created the business, that it was part of what I truly believe to be the way for us to try and live a healthy lifestyle for as long as we can. Because even though all my meals are macro counted, they have protein, they have a good balance. So I don't want people to be put off by the fact that it has that, because the meals are all under 500 calories as well. So they could easily be promoted as a gym kind of thing or a weight loss kind of journey. But I want people to think about eating nutritious meals every day for the rest of their lives. I truly believe that if we make them delicious and we use like nice ingredients, good spices, because spices will bring all the flavor in, we can live off them for the rest without just teaching them, I need to eat this healthy food that's, tastes bland just so I can lose some weight.
Yeah, so it's more the long-term goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think yours are definitely affordable to do that. It isn't a short-term 12-week weight loss meal journey. It is, I guess it's a way of life, and certainly for me, meal prep's helping me again, I'm trying not to do weight loss as such. I'm just trying to be healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I've tried home cooking. I promised Liam that if we got a brand new kitchen, I would cook more. I would have less takeaway. But the reality is my life's
Doesn't
just
happen.
too busy. Sometimes I'll leave the house at 6 a.m. I get back at 9 o'clock, and that's because I'm traveling. And it's just easy to grab a meal out of the fridge, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And this is, this is the lifestyle that we are in and the lifestyle that we're going to be in for many, many years. And, it's so important to have something that is readily available for us, that is, doesn't put the pressure on us. I mean, in an ideal world, we would all cook every day. We would all eat it from fresh. Nothing beats a home cooked fresh meal just now made. You can smell it, you can eat it. But that's not going to happen, is it? So we have got to, to consider what options do we have out there to continue to eat something that offers us the nutritious and the deliciousness, because we do like to enjoy a bit of food without feeling greasy or feeling like we've just eaten, 3,000 calories.
Or even feeling deprived,
Yes, or deprived,
yeah. Food, you don't get that flavour. So now you want to grow your business and do different services within your business, and part of that is offering a mentorship service to help people at home scale a business like you have. One of the things that I think would be attractive is knowing that you actually did start your business at home with not a lot of investment, and you've managed to turn that into a scalable, profitable business. So what is it that's making you want to do mentorship?
I feel like there's a lot of people out there with passion. And passion is such a great thing to have to get you started, all that fire. But I feel because people get trapped into the, how do I even make this a business? There's that missing link over there. And as a person, I've always enjoyed giving back, and it is part of who I am and what matters to me. So I feel like if I can help somebody hook to the next step for them, that will totally change their lives.
And I think the thing about mentorship is it does help you scale quicker. You learn from people's mistakes. I was fortunate enough in my previous employment to, look over the accounts, HR, operations, marketing, be responsible for a lot. So I learned a lot quickly. A lot of people don't have that sort of knowledge of coming out of employment. They've either done the admin or the operations or the marketing. So it can really speed up progress when you have a mentor, can't it?
Totally. I mean, I was doing a different kind of interview with She Inspires a couple of months ago, and one of the key takeaways for me was, when you start up, you might feel like a mentor is not what you need, but it's exactly what you need. Getting somebody that's done that and's been in the process.
Especially with the food and beverage.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of product testing, a lot around food safety testing, packaging, labelling, Natasha's Law. I get it with restaurants, people who have been chefs for years, they're amazing cooks. They produce amazing food, but you put them into the business environment, they don't know the numbers, they don't know how to manage people. I definitely agree, mentorship is the way forward.
Totally. And I mean, again, we're going back to that. If you want to have a small business or your side hustle, or, just cook for 10 people every week, go on, continue that. But if you really want to create a business that sustains your life, a mentorship is exactly what you need.
The aim of the podcast is to help people improve in their business or their own personal development. So what are your 3 top tips for anyone looking at, I guess, a meal prep company, maybe home bakery, home cake company?
I think the first one, and the most important one that I would say from day one, just know your numbers, put your numbers down. It doesn't have to be this detailed P&L or whatever things that you might feel, oh my god, I can't do that. Just know your costs, know where you're spending, where the money goes, what money comes in, and every month look at what kind of cash flow you've got available in your business. And then the closer you stay, the quicker you can take actions on them, so you can quickly adapt and change.
But I think as well, I'm a solo band, and I do my cash flow forecasts, I do my forecasts, And some people might ask me why. They might say it's a bit of a waste of time. Like, you know what you're doing, you know what contracts you're signing. But actually, knowing your numbers as well is a real motivator for me for marketing.
Yeah.
When you look at your numbers and you know your numbers, and you're not set to hit the targets that you've set, you know, that's a real kick up the backside to get your act into gear. So yeah, no, definitely top tip for me as well. Number 2?
Yeah, number 2 would be find yourself a mentor. Find somebody. I mean, there's, you know, if you don't have the cash flow for a mentor initially, there is different programs out there that support free mentorship. So go and be part of communities where you can find people that either are doing what you're doing and they're ahead of you with a few steps, or can help you find a mentor.
So just for anyone who might not know where you can find a mentor, the Business Growth Hub, they have great business mentorship programs. So that's free to join, and they're pretty local in Manchester, Chester, I'm sure in other areas as well.
I know. And if it wasn't for the Growth Mentor program, we wouldn't be here, because that's how we connected. And that was the first thing I did when I set up my business. And I connected with Laura, who initially was my great mentor.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
Point 3, but by no means, this isn't in no particular order. Please do take time out of your business. One of the things that I find when I speak to other business owners is they never take time out, especially in the first year. You know, sometimes you can go to year 3 and they've not had a proper holiday, or you know, completely be away from the business. And not only that, you're missing opportunities from your business, but you could end up being into your business so much that you actually don't really understand what you're doing anymore, and it becomes another job that you create, that you'll go in, wake up, go in. Just take some time out to actually look at your business from outside and to recharge your batteries.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, I am a work hard, play hard, as you know.
Yeah.
And I must say that's by choice. You know, I love what I do. It's my passion. But the best ideas do come when you're sat by the pool, or, you know, you're chilling with friends with a beer. So you definitely need to take time. And for anyone who might have been struggling, you know, early days of their business, started at home, that could be a craft business, food, beverage, but, you know, they're thinking of giving up. What would your advice be for them?
I'm not going to say don't give up, but what I'm going to say is go back to your why. Go back to...
You said go back to your wine. I love that advice. Best advice.
Go back to your why. Go back to how you've defined your success and what matters to you when you first started your business. And have a look and see what is it that you can do to get back on track to what is important to you. I would just say it's so easy to give up before you have actually looked at all the angles. If the passion's gone, that's the first sign that you got to go back and look and then ask, is this for me? And passion, unfortunately, passion alone doesn't sustain a business. Neither does your why, without, you know, completely understanding the journey that you're going, and be prepared to be surprised at points of where you are and where you're going, and take some actions. But yeah, totally understand your why, and go and ask if it's for you.
So for anyone looking for some amazing meal prep or some mentorship from scaling a business from home to a 6-figure turnover business, where can they find you?
So they can find me online, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. And most recently, I've just set up a YouTube channel under Diana Potora.
And then just quickly, what's your go-to home-cooked hearty meal?
I wouldn't say it's hearty, but I am a lover of salt and pepper chicken. I'm not sure how hearty it is, but it's delicious. And we make it really, really nutritious. And you feel like you're having a takeaway without the guilt of a takeaway.
Sounds good to me. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, be sure to check out Diana's meal prep. You won't be disappointed.